Hey, Heather.
Hey, Kelly.
Why are we here?
I have no idea.
Me either.
I'm Heather Manis,
I'm Kelly Martin.
and you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Hey, daily jazz advice brought to you by Open Studio.
Make sure you take a minute to visit oxfordamerican.org. You'll find all kind of musical goodies, including a feature on John Coltrane, an interview with Les McCann, a video feature about a lifelong collector of 78 RPMs, and much more. Again, that's the oxfordamerican.org. Ooh, and be sure to sign up for their Oxford Americans e-newsletter so you don't miss out on important music announcements, events, and other musical happenings in the Oxford American universe.
All right. Well, we're sitting in for the Peter Martin and Adam Manis today with some wonderful jazz advice. Actually, not. We're just going to talk about what we as jazz wives listen to. Our maybe 7 favorite artists.
Yeah, I guess we can compile a list of sorts to see where we end up with. I don't know if we'll end up with a full 7, but let's hit it.
I wonder if we're going to have any jazz in this.
That's a good question. I know the answer for me, but I don't know the answer for you.
Okay.
All right.
Where you want to go first?
I will go first. I would say when Adam mentioned to me that I would be talking about my favorite musical things that I listen to, I thought, yes, I do know what music is. So that's a good start. I know the one thing that I love, that I have always loved since I found it, and I continue to love to this day, is Led Zeppelin. It's hands down, bar none, my favorite musical act. Sorry, babe.
Well, what's not to like? We love Led Zeppelin.
What's not to like? Exactly.
So for me, I like there's not a genre of music that I don't like. And like I kind of have like a little cheat advantage that my parents only listened to jazz when I was a kid.
Oh, man.
So I know a lot about jazz. I know a lot about jazz musicians, I guess. Well, you do too. You're married to one.
Well, I mean, I know what a jazz musician looks like.
So that's a big step in the right direction. I would say I'm not going to start in jazz, but I do have a jazz artist that I love. But I'm going to start with like something like contemporary.
Okay, hit me.
And I like Adele.
Oh, that's a good one.
And it's my daughter when she was in like, I don't know, 6th grade, who's in college now, she comes home like, Mom, you have got to hear this music. And I'm like, wow, this woman has like an amazing voice.
That is a good one.
That's
I like
kind of
it.
my...
Do you listen to music regularly? Are you like a music listener around the house, or?
I am. I listen to music a lot. Well, in the car a lot. And then I think because I have musical children, they're always listening to music. And particularly my son, my daughter's away in college, but my son, like there's no music that he doesn't like. And like right now, he's a violinist and he's working on this Mendelssohn piano trio with 2 of his friends, and they're actually playing it in a concert tomorrow. So I'm hearing a lot of Mendelssohn in the house right now, and it's quite enjoyable. So yeah, music lover, music listener.
So your whole life, even before you had children, you were always listening to music. It was a big part of what you were doing.
Has always been, and it's funny. Like I think what attracted Peter to me is he had heard through the grapevine when we were in high school that I had like all these LPs of like vintage jazz, and he'd known other friends had been and saw this record collection. He couldn't wait, so I think that's why he wanted to date me.
He asked you out to get to your record collection.
That's exactly it.
Sucker, you got him, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Just turn over that Kind of Blue, and it's like in its original jacket. And
Now, your
it still
parents
looks
were
good.
listening to this. Were you listening to this too?
Well, it was playing in the house, and as I got older, when I got to college, like Peter likes to say, I only listened to Kenny G and Najee. That was my idea of jazz. But I actually, like my dad loved Cannonball Adderley, and so I love Cannonball Adderley.
I gotcha.
My mom loved Nancy Wilson, so I love Nancy Wilson. And so when I got to college, I was listening to that, as well as the Kenny G, because it's the 80s. You got to listen to some Kenny G. There you go. So Heather, what's another artist that really is meaningful to you and that you enjoy listening to?
I was thinking about this. In my life there has been music I have listened to, and then I don't listen to anymore, but will always be in my heart a little bit because it reminds me of a time and place, right?
Okay.
So I tried to think about this more as, what am I listening to now? What do I actively listen to? Okay. And when I am, which I'll be honest, I don't normally listen to music. Music is not a big part of my
Really?
life. Not really.
Okay.
I don't really, sometimes I will, but this is my drugs is TV. I always have the TV on in the background.
Now, how does that work with him playing all these instruments? And I'm assuming he's playing a lot in the house.
Well, not as much anymore that he's got some studio space.
Okay,
So
okay.
now my daughter is playing the piano a lot. So now I listen to her play, or try to play, I guess, because she's just getting there. She's new to it. But but sometimes I'm doing dishes or I'm cooking and I just want to listen to some music. And something I will repeatedly go to is Fleetwood Mac. I don't know if that's
a
good or
classic.
bad.
That's
but,
great.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting about us talking about like what we listen to? I feel like because our husbands, they're jazz musicians, but jazz is like a background for almost everything. All music, there's some kind of jazz influence, at least according to me, who's not a musician. But I really do think so. So like Fleetwood Mac,
Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
I'll take your word for it because
I think our husbands would agree. I mean, you can't go wrong there. I think like another artist that like just brings me joy whenever I hear anything by him, and that's Stevie Wonder.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's just like I don't think I've ever met anyone who said I just don't like Stevie Wonder.
Well, I would be very suspect of that person if they said that.
And they're not a music listener if they are.
Something's wrong with them
They
in
don't even
general, I think.
appreciate music if they're like no Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
So that's a good one for me. I guess I'm trying to think of why or when Stevie became a. I don't remember there ever not being Stevie Wonder.
Yeah,
So
that's like Stevie Wonder and the Beatles, stuff like that. It just never was not there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. All right, so we said 7. So you got another one?
Well, another big one that I listen to a lot, and I especially listen to with my son because he enjoys these as much as I do. My daughter, not as much, is any soundtrack from a Broadway musical. Like, well, I guess not any. There are some that I don't care for, but like my biggies has always been Les Mis. Like, always has been my favorite. And then I saw Hamilton.
Oh my gosh,
last
it's
spring, and now I
amazing.
just don't know. It's a real toss up for me between Hamilton and Les Mis. I don't know what I like more. It's sort of a crisis of conscience, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's just really good.
They're different, so you can kind of go with your mood when you're feeling
True.
like I gotta get to moving, gotta get that stuff done. You
Yep.
put the Hamilton on, and then you can get to moving the
Yeah,
shoulders.
and my son is a Hamilton guy all the way. Like, he really doesn't have much for Les Mis, but he does really like Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, yeah, which is a really good one. And he and I have both really gotten into The Greatest Showman, which I don't think is actually on Broadway. I don't know, it might be, but it's a movie musical, and
Yeah.
so and we've really gotten into that a lot. So.
I so love that because he's a little guy.
He's a
and
little
this
guy,
is
and he
like,
loves it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thanks.
I have no idea what number we're on.
I
but
don't know either.
I can throw someone else out
Yeah,
that
do it.
I love. I said I would add some jazz, and that would be Miles Davis. And I think the first time as an adult when I heard Kind of Blue, I was like, I don't have to hear anything else. Like, that is just everything. And even now because I teach yoga, and when I'm teaching, some days it's like a rainy day and it's a little chilly outside, and I usually listen to more world music or play more world music in my classes. But sometimes when the mood is right, you just put on the Kind of Blue, and the kind of stretching that you get, oh my gosh, it's just
Really?
it's amazing.
That's really interesting. I never would think that.
Yeah, you can just it's one of those records that when I put on, even for students who've never heard it before, they all respond to it.
Huh.
So I think it's
Some kind of visceral reaction, I guess.
yeah. And I think it's one of the best-selling jazz records, so that might explain why.
It might have something to do with it.
Well, I'm hoping that You'll Hear It listeners have enjoyed us today. We can come back again and we can talk about something else.
I'll talk about anything. You please ask my opinion on something. I'll give it to you.
Well, I got nothing else. You got anything else?
I got nothing, Kelly.
All right.
It's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. Let's do it again, but maybe we'll just hang out and go have some coffee or something.
That's
That'll
probably a
work,
little
too.
bit more enjoyable.
All right. Well, I guess thanks to the Open Studio listeners.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And to the Oxford American.
All right.
Oh, you know what, Kelly? We forgot to say something.
You'll hear it.